Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, and welcome to Behind the Weebs. This is season 2. We're here. I'm here. Well, yes, it's only me. I'm alone. All alone. But anyway, we are doing season 2, 222. And as you know, SunnyCon Newcastle has just been and gone. Before I start, I need to put out a huge ass thank you to everybody. Attendees, guests, traders, artists, staff, the whole shebang, everybody. Just a simple thank you, because it was our best year yet, and it's given me a lot more footage from actually behind the scenes at the event, which I'll hopefully be able to get around editing at some point and making into something. So, without further ado, I got given a budget. Roll the new little stinger. So for those who don't know, this is SunnyCon Anime Expo's behind the scenes that look behind the curtain of what goes on at running anime conventions and events in the United Kingdom. I'm Tucky, I'm the ambassador for SunnyCon Anime Expo. I'm somehow still alive, as are most of the staff, after the recent SunnyCon Anime Expo Newcastle, which took place at the end of June. It is now mid-July, and I've finally got around to doing these again. Over the weekend I took a lot of behind the scenes footage. Some I can use, some I definitely can't use. But we have a whole, I don't know how long this is going to go until I run out of ideas or we have another event, I suppose. Before I go, SunnyCon Anime Expo Liverpool is in August, on August 10th and 11th. Guests are booked in, everything's booked in, and that's all going swimmingly. We'll touch on that in a future video. So for today, for coming back, rather than go straight into here's all the suffering and turmoil we had at SunnyCon Newcastle, let's go to something a part of what people just went through recently, and that is the booking process for traders and artist tables. Reason I've picked this to start off with, like I say, we put up our tables like a week after SunnyCon Newcastle, and going forward, if Liverpool is a success and if we do make Liverpool a success, then a week after Liverpool's done. So what we have is, over the years for traders and artists booking, what we used to do was we'd, like in the first like 2-3 years, we'd go out there and look at what traders and artists were at other conventions and other similar events around the country. And we'd send like a speculative email saying, you know, oh, do you want to come trade at our event? We're pretty new, you know, maybe it's in your scope. And sometimes, like, we'd get a response. Sometimes we'd be like, oh, look, they're bulk emailing people. And initially it was a case of drips and drabs, and we'd usually sell out of tables right up until the week of the convention itself, because then people hear like, oh, this event's going on, and then they'll be like, well, there's an opportunity there. If they've still got tables, we'll just book, quickly do it. Over the years, our booking system has become a lot more sophisticated, whereas I know some events do booking for their tables via like a different portal, or like as if you were buying a ticket, like pay X amount of £100 for tables, and you know, you just book and that's it, you're confirmed. Our system's a bit different to the majority of other events. In fact, I think our system's a unique one, as we vet and we look up different traders and artists for our events. And this is more of a quality control thing on our end, as we have this reputation and we boast about it all the time, that we support the industry that we love. We have no fakes, no bootlegs or anything, and we've stuck to that. Sometimes one or two traders have sneaked in with stolen stuff or bootlegs and whatnot, but they're not coming back. And that's as plain as that. If you want to trade at SunnyCon, you sell official merchandise, or you know, don't bother. And it's one of the things that's given us this reputation, as one of the biggest gripes in the convention community is that they'll go to an event, like a large scale event, medium scale, they'll go there and the traders hall, the majority of it's just packed with stuff from Wish, stuff from China, you know, not official. It's not supporting anybody really, because it goes straight back to whoever's like bootlegging it, and it just gives them the money, and that could be money that we put into more products, more artists, basically. you know, anything like that. So we do a vetting process, which is we open up booking forms, which is just a Google form document with a couple of simple questions, and we take the data from that and we say like, okay, if you're we've got a database now where we have like a good list and a bad list. So on the if you're already on the good list, you get fast track through because we'll have looked at you before. We know that you're selling like official goods. We still double check sometimes, and then we process through and say like, here you go, pay your money and you can book your table. And like I say, that this is more of a relatively new thing because we used to be like you email us or we'd email you, and then you'd have to come back. It'd be a back and forth a bit, but we've always vetted since I think SunnyCon 3 when we really took it seriously, because it's always been a thing for me, but more so for Donna as well, that she absolutely despises fakes, because we used to run an anime merchandise stall and we used to bring in a lot of official goods, and after being in traders halls and sitting there was one incident at an event in Cambridge back in 2013 2014 that we travelled all the way down there for. It was quite expensive for us to get there, and we had a selection of like figures and plushies, and one of our things was we had official Hatsune Miku plushies, and we'd been selling them for I think it was about £12, and that's like £12 to £15 the average for a plushie back then. I don't know what it is now because I haven't been in that game for a while. So we went down there, and a couple of tables down was somebody selling the unofficial version of the same plushie. It was like a low quality and clearly fake. And the infuriating thing was we paid all this money and we really needed to make the money back. And this isn't just one of those, oh, those traders are doing better than us, you know, grr, jealousy. This was like, you know, we have official goods. You know, I think we were charging £2 more than what the competitor down the row was, but everybody went to them and bought them plushies because cheaper. And we're sitting there like, oh, and it's kind of good and feeling, because it's like it's not, like I say, it's not like a jealousy thing. It's a case of like, well, we feel right to be aggrieved because these are official goods. These go back into the like the official company, and you know, even though yours are cheaper, you know, they're not official. And it's kind of gutting because I thought I was going to an event which said it was like, you know, hard on fakes, but clearly, you know, that's just lip service these days. Whereas when we do our bookings, we aren't just like, it's not just lip service. We will go on, we will pre-check. There's a few people who's applied before where we ask for the distributors. Luckily, we still know all the good distributors and all the official channels that people can go through. So if they come back with something else and we're like, no, we don't think like that's official, we can point them in that direction. New businesses start all the time selling anime merch, and we think that we've helped a few, but a few have just been like, well, you know, cheaper knockoffs and that. And it's like, well, you'll not get a place at SunnyCon, you might get a place at some other event, but you'll not get a place here. And we've taken that, and from, like say, SunnyCon 3, when we got really serious about it, we've built this reputation up, and that's one of the processes of signing up. Now, we recently, like I say, we recently started all the traders and artists up. I think it was artists went live on the 5th of July. Yeah, 5th of July, artists and traders went up. And by the 7th of July, basically all artists had sold out. Like, we had a limit, and we can't, with Google Forms, you can't set a limit on how many bookings you get. So we set them alive, and within, I think it was the first 3 minutes, we garnered about 65 to 70 responses. Now, consider we limit our artists to 50 tables because we can't go any further. If we have more artists than traders, then that kind of balance goes off, and the ecosystem within the convention itself can fall down. And it's not to say that artists don't contribute much to a convention, because I think artists are one of the most important parts of a convention, but for people who go around the traders floor and buy, they want that kind of variety. They don't want to see just like lots of 2D, like, you know, flat prints and keychains and whatnot. They want to see the full like array from merchandise, big merchandise figures, gunpla, DVDs, Blu-rays, manga. Then you go to like the smaller, unique crafts, unique kind of independent retailer stuff, and we have to mix all that in with artists. So it's trying to get a fine balance that over the years that we've had a bit of trial and error with, and we've found that limiting artist tables to just 50 tables, that kind of works for us. So we're not, and our artists are up in their own little artists area up on the Bambra. So we have that limited amount of tables, and we got up to 65 within like 3 minutes. So we had to immediately like close before anybody else submitted. So it was a case of some people have missed out, and some people have like say 65. So there was like 15 on the waiting list already. So we were kind of like, you know, thank God we stopped it there. Otherwise, that would have been a lot more rejection emails sent out. And something that's more of a recent thing, because with the high demand, we've found we're getting a lot of anger now, and it's a baffling thing because we do the system of first come first served. We've posted up since pre-Sunny, about 2 weeks before SunnyCon Newcastle happened, and in our traders pack that we send out our traders and artists, we have stated the date, we have stated the time, and the place for where the forms will go live. This was set in place like with weeks of advance notice, so people know when to get there. And a few artists have missed out, and they're good at it, and you know it's understandable. And then we got a lot of people coming at us like, oh, well, this is just discriminating against people who can't fill in a form fast. And for us, we're like, yeah, we try and make everything accessible. And I think somebody said like, oh, you should curate. And I mean, no offense, it would be a good idea, but who the hell are we to say who can come in and who can't? We're not going to move to an elitist system of, well, we like her art, we like his art, we like their art, you know, but we don't really like this one, so let's just, you know, drop them and put somebody else there who we might favourite a bit more, because that just causes a shitload more tension. And it increases our workload like 20-fold at least, because we've got to then sit there and go through every single artist, like 65 different artists, pick the best 50 of them in our opinion, and then close off the door to like 15 others. And I think that's a really bad system, because if you've ever been to elite places, like places that are like you can't come in without like normal shoes, you know, you're not coming in wearing trainers, oh, you're not smartly dressed enough for this function, you know, that humiliating feeling of being stopped at the door and saying that you're not good enough. And I can imagine that for artists who, especially some artists, can be very fragile, and that can make or break them. So what we do is we do the first come first serve system because it is fair. And like I said, we do advertise weeks in advance. So if you feel like you have a disadvantage with filling in the form, then there's ample time to get help. And if you can't get help, contact us and we will find a way to make it fair. Because by no means is it a perfect system, because it's a competitive, very bloodthirsty like business thing, like first come first serve, like bum rush it and then, you know, the first lot and then the rest of you can start off. It's not that case, because we do have this system in place, because we've had like 9 years of running these events now, and this is the best system for it, because there's no way in hell we're going to sit there and pick and choose our favourites, because the amount of backlash we get off that would be absolutely horrendous. And this year was no exception. We had some artists and traders who have been established at SunnyCon for absolutely years, but because they didn't fill in the form on time, that opportunity has went to somebody who has. And we're not going to apologise for that, because that's the way. I believe other events run the system as well, but they don't get fingers pointed at them and shouted discrimination, which seems to be a thing, even though it's like it's not discrimination. It's just baffling, and it's one of the things that we've just found with traders and artists, especially more the artist side. Traders, we usually get a big number, and then a lot of people are like kind of like used to drop off. But this year we filled up on our quota within 24 hours, so that's a record for us, because usually we'd get a lot of people saying they want trader tables, and then they kind of like a few drop off like, nah, not paying on time, because we give a 7-day from confirmation email to pay to actually secure your place at the event. And if not, it goes on to somebody on the waiting list. So we'd filled up our Newcastle trader tables, and one of the things we found is there's a lot of artists in that, and it's not like we're forcing you to pay the extra £40 to become a trader, or even I think it's like £20 for the edge of room tables. It's that we know that there's a big demand for artists, but we don't have the space to accommodate. But we're not going to turn you away if you're going to pay like the full price anyway. Yeah, again, first come, first served. If you put in the time and put in the form on time and pay on time, you can be a part of SunnyCon. And like I say, with our quality check just on the side there, if you pass the quality check, then it makes for a good varied traders room as well as artist alley. So that's the Newcastle side of it. Whereas when we started with Liverpool trader and artist tables, we look at when we started out for SunnyCon originally, and like I say, there was a lot more. I think SunnyCon's got a base interest now across the UK, across the nation, and we had a lot of people. Some of them were the ones who traded at Newcastle. Some of them were ones who wanted to trade at Newcastle but can't travel up, so they have put in. And we found like there was a high interest, a very high interest in people. Lots of people wanting but didn't pay on time. So we had a huge dropout. Like for Liverpool, I think it's the same as SunnyCon 1 when we had like a lot of people who were interested, they'd register the interest, but they wouldn't pay to secure, because obviously I think it's seen as a new event, unknown quantity. Will they make money? Who knows? But that's the part of the convention. And when people start dropping out, I think we had like up to 30 to 40% of initial applications dropped out or just didn't respond, which is a pain in the arse, because we take time to make all of these details. We put everything down in black and white. It's on the website. It's on the form when you fill it in, and all you have to do is just pay to secure your place. We'll put your banner up with a link on. Great SEO for you, by the way, if you don't put banners up. And we go forward and we can do our table plan. And we have filled our Liverpool tables with traders and artists. Only just, I think like we're looking at about 4 weeks before the event, and we've actually sold all the traders and artist slots now. And I think that's because Newcastle was, it's just another reminder that we have a successful event up there. There's nothing stopping us from having a successful event down here. And we had a lot of people just take up the last tables and that, and we've had a few logistical move around, and everything's full up now. So Liverpool's actually sold out, and that was another thing that was kind of irksome, that we had a few people come forward and claim that because we weren't selling tables at Liverpool, that the event was going to be rubbish. And I never get that logistics. It's like, oh look, they're selling something, so the event must be rubbish. But every event sells tables. The fact that we're selling tables will not make the event rubbish. It just means that, people, traders and artists just aren't that hot on us at the moment. And after Newcastle, they were very hot on us after that, let me say. And that's the thing. And if you are booking for an event, this is a little bit of advice. If you are going to book for events like SunnyCon, like us, we will put up all the details, all our information, table sizes, locations, dates, times of setup, everything like that will be put up on our tables registration page. And with that will be a link or a button that will take you to the form that you need, so say the traders or artist form. Remember that artists will sell, like I say, 3 minutes, and we had 65 people apply. And I can say that everyone has paid within the time limit. Everybody who got confirmed has paid within the time limit. So our artist tables are pretty much gold dust. And we have a waiting list of 15, so if any of them cancel, then it gets passed on. If you're going to email us now, like anywhere between now and the end of June, unless all them 15 people turn down or take other spots and that, there's no chance you'll get in. And on one hand, that makes our job so much easier. Everybody who pays immediately, that means we've got the funds there that we can then take and pay off our debts and pay towards the venue for next year. And that's great. That's fine and dandy. Traders and artists are sorted. I think we've got like 2 or 3 traders who we're chasing up payments for now. But this 2020 Newcastle has been like the best response rate that we've had for all of it. And we believe that part of the success of our traders tables is we do have competitive pricing on it, because most of the large scale events you are looking at, I think, going back to 2012, 2011, I think it was 2011 actually. Took his anime and I decided to go to Hyper Japan, which was an interesting experience. This is when Earl's Court was still standing. That's how long ago it was. And we'd never done a big show. We'd done SunnyCon beforehand. We'd done a few local events. I think we'd done Amicon by that time. So going to Hyper Japan was an experience for us, because we'd never had like the big shell scheme kind of trading experience. And there was me, there was Donna. Donna's father was helping us because no one could drive us down to London at that point. And we went there, and I paid for 2 tables. This is just 2 6-foot by 2-foot tables. What we offer for £100. I booked 2 of them, £350 each. And on top of that, there was a £15 traders pass that I had to pay for me, one for Donna, one for her father. And on top of that, there was also like £15 for a chair. And it's like, you pay for a chair? But it's London, so you pay for everything. And I kind of took that and I thought, well, this is a big risk. This is a very big risk for us, because as traders, we were pretty green, but we had very competitive prices. Saw quite a few fake stalls there as well, which was quite disappointing considering the reputation they had at the time. But it was an experience, and we took that as market research going forward for SunnyCon. Like, we can't charge £300 odd a table. Obviously, we don't get like the tens and hundreds of thousands that some events claim. We're not at that level quite yet. I think our footfall for last SunnyCon was close to like 10,000, but that's footfall. That's people coming in every day, and then we had traders and artists on. So, it's more like a couple of thousand rather than like 10,000, because footfall sounds a lot more impressive. But we went there and we didn't make the money back in sales. And this I don't know if this was like because the competition was there, or the fact that we had to book the 4-star hotel that was across the way, which did a really minging pizza at the time. But it was a fun weekend. It was educational nonetheless, and we took that for our traders and artists, and we said, right, well, people, one of the gripes we used to have was, I have to pay my travel to Newcastle, or to Sunderland as it was at the time. I have to pay travel to Sunderland and hotels and that, and it's not viable for me. And we took that feedback on board, and we were like, yeah, but you travel around every other convention in the country, so that's a problem for everyone. We're not going to give you like preference because you have to travel, because that's the nature of the business. We had to travel down to London, but we didn't turn around to Hyper Japan and say, oh, well, we've had to pay X amount in travel and X amount on hotels. We want a discount on our table. It doesn't work like that. Luckily, as times went on, nobody uses that excuse anymore. Especially in Newcastle, with it being so well like connected transport wise. And we took the pricing and said, we'll do, I think at the time it was like about £80 for a trader table, and then £40 to £50 for an artist table. That was back then. Obviously, inflation, because demand's grown, and stadiums ain't cheap. Stadiums are not cheap in the slightest. And I'll tell you this now, because one of the things is, people say like the revenue you make from events like ticket sales, traders and arts tables. People think that traders and arts tables are a huge chunk of money. It's not. It's not, especially at our prices, when £80 for end tables, £100 for central tables in the traders area, and then as you go upstairs, £60 for artist tables. I think we have like 200 odd tables or something like that over the weekend, all obviously at varying rates because of location and whatnot, but we take all of that revenue from traders and artist tables, and I think it was round about £6,000, and that's what goes to the event. And to put this into perspective, that wouldn't pay for one guest. Obviously, when you look at the likes of your MCMs, your Hyper Japans, your Showmasters, like the big, like corporate events and whatnot, they're charging £300 for a table. Some of them don't even give you a tablecloth. We do, but you look at that, and obviously they can claim they've got the footfall. But you look at them events, and when they say like they have, I think it's like 400 or 500 like tables, and you think like about £100 to £300 each, then you can say like, well, that adds a lot to like their revenue income. And you look at like a medium to small event like ourselves. It's we call them small when we've got thousands, but when you look at that our kind of event, we end up with like about 6, maybe £7 altogether from traders and artist tables. So it's for such a low like kind of income resource. There's a lot of work that goes into scraping that seven odd grand, and that wouldn't pay for like one guest, because you consider guests can have like their flights. Sometimes they bring a +1, so 2 return flights from America. There's about £4 straight away. You look at the hotel for a weekend, it's about £1. Sometimes the fees can be anywhere between $2,000 to $6,000. So there's about £2,000 to £6,000. And the pound keeps just getting weaker and weaker. So for us, like, you know, if we sell all our traders and arts tables, like, yes, great, we're in demand. You know, we've got a good reputation amongst that part of the community, and people will have a varied independent retail like hall that has like complimentary stuff. But in the overall scheme of it, it's a drop in the water. And the thing that we've got to go through, we put all of that text down. We have all the hassle from people like not paying, or people complaining that they didn't get in on time. And I look at it and I think this is for nothing in comparison to what we really need. And yes, obviously £7 shouldn't be sniffed at because some people have nothing, and I know that. And you know, I'm one of those who has nothing at the moment. But that £7 goes, and it pays off a little bit of debt from the previous year. And then the big focus is ticket sales, because once we've got traders and artists, they're up on the website, you know, we've got our SEO going, we can, you know, contact them at any point, and they can promote themselves. Please promote yourselves, my God. That's another thing. Traders and artists, if you're watching, pro tip, come to us, the event, or any event that you're promoting at. If you want to get noticed, we will retweet, we will share. If you're having competitions, we will do anything like that. It costs absolutely nothing for us to share it, and it gets interest from our attendees to you, and then maybe when the event comes around, they'll remember who you are because you promoted with us. Cross promotion is absolutely free, and please do not just sit there and hope for the best for an event. Try and get involved, try and do market research, you know, talk to the attendees. We've got group pages, we've got event pages, we've got Discords, we've got Twitter, everything like that. It's really underutilized at the moment, so please, you know, just one of those things, remember. Back on. So yeah, with traders and artists, it's a different thing altogether. Liverpool and Newcastle are two different things, because, like I say, Newcastle, now well established, really good reputation. I'd like to think we've got a really good reputation. I don't know if that's just me blowing smoke, but you know, selling out artists within 3 minutes, traders within 24 hours, that's pretty good. So Newcastle's like up there on this scale, and Liverpool, ooh, untested event, ooh, unsure, ooh, tables aren't selling, so it's probably a bad event, says rumours circulated by who the and we're sitting here, and like I say, Newcastle's full, Liverpool 2019 is full now. Liverpool 2020 going forward, question mark at the moment, because we've got a lot of planning to do and we're still on that. But I thought I'd just start off episode 1, me sitting here ranting about traders and artists and the booking process. And I hope you've learnt a little bit about it, and I hope, like, you know, it has been educational to some degree. Once again, thank you very much for joining us back here. I'll be back in about a week's time, as yes, I am doing more of these, and we should be having more little bits of behind the scenes from SunnyCon Newcastle and probably SunnyCon Liverpool somewhere in the near future. So I've been Tucky. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you later. Goodbye.